Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are at the moment. Uh, this recording is meant for the audience in Taiwan. I'm going to share my screen and hopefully you will be able to see my content. Okay, so these are my slides for the presentation. So once again, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to give this talk regarding gamification of medical education. So a little bit of introduction regarding myself. All right, so I'm currently employed at Duke NUS Medical School. Please call me ET for short. My surname is Ang. So for my audience in Taiwan, it is Hong 3点水一个公. All right. So without further ado, I will get started with the presentation. So the title of my presentation is Gamification of Medical Education, right? So I want to begin this presentation by making an assumption, and the assumption is this: we believe that learning is fun. It shouldn't be a very laborious or difficult process, certainly for the students out there. So really, we really believe that learning should be fun. So that is our first assumption. And I also want to begin this presentation by thanking my wonderful students. So this were my students way back in 2016, 17, I believe. And most of them would have graduated by now, and I believe they are practicing already medicine, in this country or maybe somewhere else in the world. So these are my participants who were very, very gracious. When I invited them to take part in my research project, um, and I'm very, very grateful to them. Right. So my intention is to begin this presentation by asking you, the audience, what do you think is gamification, right? So, uh, the students out there, or, the very, very curious faculty or doctors or healthcare professionals, they at this point of time, I envision them looking into their phones or the computers using ChatGPT to find out exactly what is meant by gamification and what has it got to do with medical uh, education. So I intend to pull out one of my publication, and that will give you an idea, okay, what um, gamification is all about. So let me make this a little bigger so that you can see, right? So this piece of publication was made in, I believe, in the year 2018, right? And it came about because of some fundamental questions that we were trying to work on, and that is how gamification might be able to benefit medical education, right? So in the process, we have to first figure out what is gamification. All right. So I put it in bold or in yellow. All right. Put very simply, it represents an opportunity for stakeholders like yourself to have fun while learning. You know, I want to also uh, make it very clear that there are other definitions out there, like for instance, serious games, and also some people talk about gamifying, and how is that different from gamification, right? So if you were to indulge in my manuscript, I hope you will get a better sense of what uh, gamification in medical education can perhaps help you in teaching your uh, students or residents. So let me go back to my slide. So this is basically, just to get you very curious. Okay, what exactly is gamification, and what has it got to do with medical education? Right. So once you have a certain understanding of what gamification is all about, then you want to ask another very important question. Why do you want to do gamification? Okay, we believe that, gamification, if done correctly, can lead to a relaxed environment, okay, for an effective and enjoyable learning experience for your students, for your residents, and for your doctors. All right. Furthermore, we also believe that gamification can lead to active participation in class, right? And how does it do so? Okay, we believe that it can increase motivation for self-directed learning. So way back in 201718, we had this hypothesis, and that is, I've put it down here in red. All right, gamification will increase the students' motivation in their learning. So maybe a little more about the background, okay, as to how we believe gamification can alter or change a person's behavior. Okay, and we have done the necessary literature review, and we kind of agreed that, in self-directed learning, at least, okay, there are 4 constructs that you need to be fairly familiar with, and these are highlighted here, right? These constructs are motivation, self-efficacy, initiative, and control. All right, and of the 4, okay, after our experiments, we had an inking that motivation was likely to be influenced by gamification. So then, with this in mind, we set off on our research, right? So I'll give you a bit of a rundown through the materials and methods that we use in the research. So if you look at the schematic here, I hope you can see my cursor, all right? We got our students to come into the research, okay? And as you already know, the anatomy of the human body is a very complex subject, okay? There are a lot of Latins and Greek that one has to contend with in order to understand the subject. So we thought if we can somehow gamify the process, and introduce a bit of fun, then, maybe the students will appreciate the process a lot more. So how do we do this? Right. So we did a first a pre-survey, and then we divided our volunteers into three groups: group 1, 2, and 3, tackling the different parts of the human body. And then we did all this intervention. So in our mind, gamification is a process whereby we introduce gaming elements into a non gaming context. For the longest time, medical education is deemed to be a very serious matter, right? So you have to take this very seriously. You go to medical school, you really want to work very hard. You really want to study very hard and pass all the exams. You don't want to be fooling around. Okay, so we believe that yes, it is important for you to pass your exams, but we can have a bit of fun as well. And how do we do that? Right. So we introduce games like, for instance, a bingo, Jeopardy, right, Kahoot. Okay, and in doing so, we want our students to learn the curriculum, but then we want to learn it in a very fun manner. What we then do was we did a post survey to find out exactly how the students perceive this process of gamification. And then we also, knock on the door of the deanery to extract the results of these volunteers. After the process of gamification, did they do any better than those students who were not exposed to any gamification at all? So in a very very simplified manner, all right, we had two groups of students, right? Okay, so one group of students were my volunteering students, right? And we then randomized them into two halves, all right? One half exposed to gamification, while the other half were not exposed to gamification. So group 4, 5, and 6, right? So these students were not exposed to any form of gamification. In other words, they learn human anatomy via the traditional manner, that is didactic lecture, tutorials, etc. So these are some photos taken of my students during the process of gamification. So you see here, my student coming to the front of the class, teaching, uh, his classmates, okay, something regarding the musculoskeletal system, all right? So we wanted them to be having fun, right? Okay. This is another picture of our students, learning how to auscultate the heart sounds, okay, on each other. So again, the idea is a very simple one. We want them to have some fun while learning, how to understand what is meant by the S1 or the S2 heart sounds, like, for instance, lap dap, lap dap, lap dap. And what better way to learn this by actually pulling out the stethoscope and trying this on your fellow friends. We also believe that, if we empower our students to have the opportunity to teach their peers. They will also have some fun, right? So it doesn't need to be always the teachers talking to the students. It can be the other way around. Okay, and then we describe this to be uh, what you call a flipped classroom, right? So in the process, they are also, have the experience of teaching, and then some laughters here and there, without the too much intervention from the teachers. That in itself is in our mind um, uh, a fun manner, all right, of delivering the content. Okay, so we also did something like what you call a script concordance test, and if you're familiar with it, this test is essentially just a series of questions. Sorry about that. A series of questions that we ask the senior doctors to attempt, and then their responses will be registered, and then what we then do is to get the students to try these questions, and then we want to make some comparison whether the students have the same responses as the senior doctors. So again, we believe that if you let the students have a go at this sort of thing, they will immediately appreciate, right, the importance of the basic sciences like anatomy, human anatomy, and how it will be able to uh, apply those knowledge in their clinical work in future, right? So that to us is a form of gamifying and introducing fun, right? Okay. So what then came out of our research can be summarized in this fairly easily understood table. All right. So if you look at my cursor, right, if you follow my cursor, the orange bars in group 1, 2, 3, right? So let me remind you, these are the gamified students. In other words, they were exposed to gamification. Um, and then you compare it to the adjacent blue bars. You can immediately appreciate that in terms of the CA results, in other words, the continuous assessment results, the students that were exposed to gamification were actually, in fact, doing better than those students who were not exposed to gamification. And we believe, and this could be attributed to the fact that, gamification has somehow altered their learning behaviors, and then, and therefore they were able to capture the curriculum or the information a lot better compared to those students not exposed to gamification. Now, if you look at my cursor here, 4, 5, and 6, these are students that were essentially students who were exposed not to gamification, but rather just the old-fashioned way of didactic lectures and tutorials. And if you look at the orange bars versus the blue bars, you do not see any trend. In other words, no increase in their continuous assessment results compared to, say, uh, the their counterparts. So that's the outcome of our results of our research. So moving on, apart from quantitative data, we also ask some questions, and through these questions, were able to elicit some qualitative comments from the students. So to be really honest, the students reported both positive and negative comments. So maybe I just take you through, some of the positive comments, right? So, I'm just reading off the slide here. So positive comments include things like, some of the students mentioned the games really make class participation more enjoyable, right? Okay, so that is encouraging, right? And it motivated me to revise beforehand so I could contribute, right? So we believe, gamification has somehow altered, their behaviors, and and they now want to participate more, okay, more in learning the curriculum first, even before they come to class, right? Okay. Um, and if you just, look at the rest of the comments, some remarked, some remark that, the fact that there's fun in the tutorials created a more relaxed environment. So this is very important, all right? So we believe that, in the classroom, it doesn't need to be so stressful all the time. It doesn't need to be that way, right? Also, the students, some of them mentioned that, um, the classes were a lot more interactive compared to, say, a didactic lecture or a tutorial, right? What then were some of the negative comments received from the students? Okay, so some of the negative comments were like, for instance, they felt that although, yes, gamification has helped to increase the activity in the class, okay, uh, it was not so effective, or in other words, ineffective, because uh, in the process of gamification, somehow, okay, the students may be distracted, all right, okay, and in doing so, they now were not able to capture what they are supposed to learn um, in class, right? Okay. And then one thing I want to be very clear about is motivation um, is can be looked upon in two manners, all right? Intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation, right? So gamification in my mind, okay, can influence extrinsic motivation, all right? Okay. However, it is not so effective in influencing intrinsic motivation, right? So I think this was pointed out by some of the students, right? Okay. What else did we learn from the research, right? Um, Okay, I'm just reading off from the paragraph here. So in conclusion, through our research, we now realize that gamification can affect the learning process, mainly through alteration in terms of a student's motivation and initiative. But it is not absolute. Okay, all right, it is not absolute. Furthermore, as a pedagogical adjunct, it resulted in better academic grades amongst the student. Right. Other points that you should take note of is certainly if you're thinking about gamifying your teaching, all right, do not attempt to have too much gamification, because as mentioned earlier on, this could actually be a source of distraction for the students, right? As I put in the text here. Also, you want to continue to maintain a relationship with your students. This is very important. all right, okay, because this will actually keep them motivated, all right. So it shouldn't be like, no, okay, all right, you gamify the process and then you just leave your students aside. It doesn't work that way, right? Okay. So we also learn some other insights, like for instance, aspiration for good grades is not the only driver for the students to want to do well. All right, actually, most of them want to do well in the subject, at least for anatomy. Is that they hope that they can practice better, uh, in future, right? Also, the importance of having a leaderboard. All right, so leaderboard is a great motivator for participation. So you can imagine if you tell the students, okay, so if you do this well, you're gonna get some rewards. Right, so that really motivated the students to want to learn more. Right, okay, and you also realize that apart from uh, giving them the sense that they are ahead in the ranking. Chocolate treats really help to keep the class energy up, right? Okay, so with this slide, I just want to make it very clear. In order to gamify your teaching process or learning process, all right, these are some of the factors that you need to bear in mind, all right? In order to make learning fun, right, we really need to have less stressor on the students. It doesn't need to be like the teacher always barking at the students. Okay, try to maintain a cordial relationship so that the students can open up to you. Okay, and when they are not so stressed, they will somehow be more comfortable in your presence, and then they will want to be asking more questions, all right? Okay, and that can only be a good thing, right? Okay. Remember what I mentioned earlier on, all right? We believe that gamification can influence motivation, all right? But here I want to differentiate intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation, right? I think gamification can somehow influence extrinsic motivation more than intrinsic motivation, all right? Okay, so it doesn't work all the time. Why? Because some students are just a little bit more quiet, and then they really don't cherish the all these games, and because they just feel that it is a source of distraction, right? Remember to use rewards. I've alluded to this earlier on, right? Rewards are very, very important, right? So if your student do well, reward them, right? It can be a book, or just a pat on the shoulder, all right? So certainly they will feel a lot more encouraged to want to do well. Also, you want to use narratives, right? So as humans, we often like to tell stories, all right? Okay, and if you think about it, we are just about the only species that enjoy telling stories, right? Okay, and storytelling is very important. Why? Because it is through storytelling that your students learn, right? So if you can somehow fit in this into your teaching or your learning process, I think the students will appreciate it very much. All right. So narrative really matters. Experiential learning. All right. So you have to keep it relevant. All right. So and also the understanding the psychology behind the learning process. All right. So Klopp cycle. Okay, if you are into the educational theories, right? The author advocated, right, in order for learning to take place very effectively, you really need to go through this cycle, which includes a couple of things. One, concrete learning. Two, a period of reflection. And then three, you need to go away, form your own abstract thinking. And then finally, four, you come back and then you do the experiments. And then you see whether it works or it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, again, you go back to step number one. That is, you have to go back to concrete learning again. And how do you do that? Okay, you approach your teacher, approach your friends, etc. Right? Very importantly, we also believe that in order to gamify effectively, you need to use feedback. Direct feedback will be the best, right? Okay, you want to tell your students or your residents or your junior doctors what did they do right, what did they not do right, okay, and then in the process they will grow, all right? They will grow and then, they will learn a lot more effectively. Now, this thing about technology, I think it cuts both ways. All right. So some will think that technology helps. Okay. Personally, I think it does help. If you go into the literature, you understand that the gamification actually include things like virtual reality, augmented reality. Many people are doing all this sort of thing out there. All right. Um, does it help? If you ask me, I think it does, right? That's why I put a question mark there. But then you must understand there are certain people out there who are not so comfortable with the technology because they feel that if you use too much technology, actually it gets in the way of your learning, all right? So that can be a bit of a hindrance, right? Okay, so if you want to use technology to gamify, certainly you can do so, right? But you want to keep it really simple, huh? Right? Repetitions count. All right, repetitions count a lot. So if you can somehow build in um, the number of repetitions, for sure, the students will learn whatever you want them to learn a lot better. Okay. And finally, one last point here, competitions versus collaborations. All right. So this is something that I've been thinking about for a while. All right. So competitions, yes, it is good because I think it helps to bring out the best in the person. But you also have to bear in mind that if the person didn't do so well, he or she may develop some kind of inferiority complex, and that might not be a good thing. All right. Okay. So on that note, we then need to talk a little bit about collaboration, right? So these days and age, many people are talking about teamwork, all right? It is always good to work in the team. Why? Because, the stronger can help the weaker. And then we also believe that the weaker, have got certain attributes or strength that can actually supplement the stronger one. So in the end, everybody helps. All right. So in essence, if you're thinking about gamifying your teaching or your learning, all right, you want to keep all these things in mind. All right. First, keep it fun. Two, you want to uh, be cognizant of altering the intrinsic or extrinsic motivation in a person. Three, use rewards. Four, narrative or storytelling helps. Experiential learning, I've expanded on that earlier on. Okay. And then, you want to talk about giving feedback, technology, and then, competitions, etc. Right? So I hope you uh, have a better sense of what gamification entails and how it might be able to help uh, your students or your um, residents or your junior doctors learn better. All right. So I'm happy to report to you that through our research and then our efforts to gamify this process of learning. All right. we have published some papers, and these papers have attracted quite a fair amount of attention. All right, okay. Again, so without uh, uh, boasting, the paper is actually quite highly cited. Okay, and the industry players also got in touch with us. So you see a picture of one of them here talking to us. Okay, so this is me, and then this is another younger colleague of mine. So he's also into gamification, and then we had conversations, and then we're just trying to explore, all right, through a podcast, and hopefully this message of the benefits of gamification can get out there, and and hopefully everybody um, learn, all right, or at least appreciate the advantages of keeping the process fun. Right. So I also want to make it clear that Dr. Mu, who is the I believe the organizer of this conference, okay, uh, has also expressed some interest in our work, and henceforth the invitation to speak at this webinar. All right. So I want to thank her personally for giving me this opportunity to share more. All right. Okay, but last but not least, I just want to make it very clear that we didn't invent gamification. All right, so gamification has been around for a while, right? Okay, as it's actually, in fact, it's like probably a century old already. All right, okay. So there are other groups out there who are already using this ideal of gamification to make the learning process more effective. So this group here, I've pointed out to you, they actually, the through a process of questions and um, um, they had this spin wheel, right? So the idea is they wanted their residents to learn something about point of care ultrasound, right? Okay, so they gave them options, all right, okay, and in the process, they actually learn how to operate the ultrasound, okay, in a fun manner, all right, in a fun manner, and uh, and in doing so, help to um, help them to understand, okay, how to perform an ultrasound examination better. Okay. So on a side note, okay, again, I just want to perhaps share with you, okay, this ideal of gamification as a tool to mitigate bullying. All right. So this thing about bullying, okay, I'm just highlighting it here, all right, has been, reported, all right, in the literature, okay, all right. So there are this sort of unhealthy relationship going on out there, right? So sometimes, okay, for whatever reasons, the teachers uh, not very helpful in some of their comments made to the students, and I believe that it's actually not a good thing. Okay, can be detrimental to students' learning. So how then can we manage this sort of situation? All right, one way. Okay, one way in my mind is you can use gamification to perhaps lighten the environment a little, so that uh, things are not so tense. All right. So they and when things are not so tense, students can appreciate what they have to learn better. All right. So let me again just make it very clear. All right. So there are literature out there, okay, suggesting, all right, that the culture at least in medicine, is not so good. All right, okay. All these papers, they have actually reported on um, who these perpetuators are, right? Okay, and how the students or the residents suffered, right? Again, I just want to put it out there that gamification might be one way, all right, to mitigate, right, this sort of phenomenon, right? So some more literature which I've put out from the internet, right? Okay, so this happened not just in the English speaking part of the world, but also in the non-English speaking part of the world, all right? And I hope you will take this in the right spirit, all right? So in Asia at least, sometimes the culture has always been like top down, all right? So it's like the teachers are always correct, as opposed to this consultative kind of manner in which teachers and students can have um, I guess the word is a conversation that is not so skewed in terms of power, right? So the teachers in, at least in this part of the world, they are treated almost like God. All right. So whatever teacher said is true, right? So students have very little say. Um, and this is something that I believe maybe what we can learn from our colleagues in the Western society. All right. If gamification can somehow level the playing field, I think the learners will appreciate it. All right. Okay. So one more piece of literature taken out from the internet. All right. So over here, the headline is like bullying in American graduate medical education system. All right. So they've done the survey. All right. So it depends on how you look at it. All right. So it is as real as it can get. Okay. All right. All these are published. All right. So we believe that gamification might be one way to mitigate this sort of um, unhealthy culture. Right. Okay. So right. So I think at least speaking from own experience, all right, and also, some of the horror stories that I heard from my colleagues, all right. So in the past, uh, the more senior people they used to teach by humiliation, and that, in my opinion, is maybe not such a good thing, all right, okay. So please take it in the right spirit, all right, okay. I don't mean to suggest um, it is uh, how should I put it? Never mind. I think you know what I mean. All right. It is probably something that's happening. May not be happening all the time, but something that we need to might be mindful of. Right. Okay. So finally, okay, I just want to end this webinar by saying that my students have been very understanding. So when I suggested to them, you can you help me in trying to understand how gamification might be able to benefit your education? They came on, all right, with a lot of courage, okay, and good spirit, all right, okay. So you see, my students here, that I believe, yeah, they would have graduated by now already, all right. So they look fairly happy, okay, at least not so stressed, all right, okay, and uh, good to know that they have enjoyed my class. They have learned the content. Maybe not in a not so uh, um, stressful environment. Right? Okay. Right. So finally, I want to again thank you to Dr. Mu and also colleagues like Shu Fen, all right, okay, for the invitation, all right. So this is where Singapore is right at the tip, okay, of uh, the the Malayan Peninsula, all right, okay. So we are known as the little red dot, right? It's there, all right, and I believe Taiwan should be somewhere up here, right? Okay. So these are our touristic spots, right? So if you do come by to Singapore, please visit me, all right? I'll be happy to show you a bit of what this country has to offer you. Finally, okay, these are some of the references which I have, you know, gotten from the internet. All right. So I believe if you uh, click on the link, they will show you, not too long YouTube. All right. But a good enough, a good enough sense of what gamification is all about. All right. Okay. So first, you need to understand what is gamification and how can it help your teaching or your learning. All right. Okay. And in doing so, all right, okay, perhaps it can help to change the culture as well, right? So on that note, I want to say another big thank you. Okay, I'll be happy to take any questions. Okay, right. So over to the organizers. Thank you. I will stop sharing my screen and then to stop the recording as well.